Running non-metallic cable, often referred to as NM cable, inside Wiremold raceways is permissible under specific conditions according to the National Electrical Code, or NEC. It is crucial to adhere to these regulations to ensure electrical safety and code compliance. The NEC addresses this specific installation method, offering guidance on how to properly execute it. NEC Section 334.10b2 states that NM cable can be installed in surface raceways or enclosures, provided these raceways offer protection equivalent to that of conduit or tubing. This provision acknowledges the use of Wiremold as a protective measure for NM cable, allowing for its installation in these raceway systems. In addition to the allowance in NEC Section 334.10b2, NEC Section 300.11 is also important. Electrical equipment must be installed according to its listing and labeling. The Wiremold raceways themselves must be rated for the specific type of cable being installed, in this instance, NM cable. This ensures that the raceway is designed to handle the electrical characteristics and physical dimensions of the cable. Securely fastening the raceways to surfaces is also a requirement. This ensures that the Wiremold system remains stable and provides continuous protection to the NM cable. The raceways must have proper covers installed, preventing accidental contact with the conductors inside. Furthermore, all connectors and fittings used with the Wiremold raceways must be listed for the specific raceway system and cable type. This ensures compatibility and proper functionality of the entire installation. When using NM cable in Wiremold, it's suitable for branch circuits and various other electrical wiring applications. However, precautions must be taken during installation. It is important to avoid sharp bends or excessive stress on the cable, as this could damage the insulation or conductors, leading to potential electrical hazards. Securing the cable inside the raceway with straps or other approved methods prevents movement and potential damage. To maintain clarity and ensure safety, label the raceways clearly, indicating the type of cable and circuit contained within. This helps electricians and maintenance personnel identify the wiring system. There are several advantages to using Wiremold with NM cable. Firstly, protection. Wiremold raceways provide physical protection for the NM cable, significantly reducing the risk of damage from impacts, abrasion, or other external factors. Secondly, ease of installation. Compared to traditional conduit or tubing systems, Wiremold raceways can often be installed faster and easier, saving time and labor costs. Thirdly, aesthetics. Wiremold raceways can improve the visual appearance of exposed wiring, providing a neat and professional look. In conclusion, running NM cable in Wiremold is a legal and viable solution for certain applications, given that all requirements are met. The Wiremold raceways must be rated for NM cable, and all installations must be carried out in accordance with both the NEC and the manufacturer's instructions. Paying close attention to these details ensures a safe and compliant electrical installation. For a deeper understanding of these requirements, consult the specific sections of the NEC, including 334.10b2 and 300.11a. Also, refer to the manufacturer's documentation for the Wiremold raceway system being used. The proper use of tools and equipment is critical to a successful and safe installation. Always use the appropriate tools for cutting, stripping, and terminating NM cable. Ensure that all tools are in good working condition and that you are trained in their proper use. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, including safety glasses and gloves, to protect yourself from potential hazards. Before beginning any electrical work, always de-energize the circuit. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off before touching any wires or components. Never assume that a circuit is de-energized. When installing an NM cable in Wiremold, pay close attention to the full capacity of the raceway. Do not overfill the raceway, as this can damage the cable and create a fire hazard. Refer to the NEC for guidelines on fill capacity. When making connections, use only listed and approved connectors and fittings. Ensure that all connections are tight and secure. These connections can cause arcing and overheating, leading to a fire. Inspect the NM cable for any signs of damage before installing it in the Wiremold raceway. Do not use damaged cable. If you are unsure about any aspect of the installation, consult with a qualified electrician. Do not attempt to perform electrical work if you are not properly trained. Regular inspection and maintenance of the electrical system is essential for safety. Check the Wiremold raceways for any signs of damage, such as cracks, dents, or loose covers. Repair any damage immediately. Periodically test the ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in the circuit to ensure that they are functioning properly. Replace any GFCIs that fail the test. Keep the area around the electrical panel clear of obstructions. Do not store flammable materials near the panel. Install smoke detectors in the home and test them regularly. Replace the batteries in the smoke detectors at least once a year. Have a qualified electrician inspect the electrical system at least every 3 years. This will help identify any potential problems before they become serious. By following these safety tips, homeowners can help prevent electrical fires and other electrical hazards. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work, hire a qualified electrician. Here are some additional considerations. First, local codes and regulations. Always check with the local building department to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Secondly, future modifications. Consider the possibility of future modifications or additions to the electrical system when planning the installation. Make sure that the Wiremold raceway system is sized appropriately to accommodate any future needs. Thirdly, environmental factors. Consider the environmental conditions in which the Wiremold raceway system will be installed. If the raceway will be exposed to moisture or corrosive elements, use a raceway system that is specifically designed for those conditions. Fourthly, accessibility. Ensure that the Wiremold raceway system is accessible for inspection and maintenance. Do not install it in locations where it will be difficult to reach. Fifthly, grounding. Ensure that the electrical system is properly grounded. This will help protect against electrical shock and fire hazards. When running NM cable through Wiremold, use appropriate fittings and connectors that are specifically designed for use with both NM cable and Wiremold systems. These fittings ensure a secure and code-compliant connection, protecting the cable from damage at entry and exit points. Check that the fittings are properly listed and labeled for their intended use. Proper support and securement of the Wiremold are essential for safe and reliable installation. Support the Wiremold at intervals recommended by the manufacturer, typically every few feet, to prevent sagging and maintain the integrity of the system. Use appropriate fasteners and mounting hardware to securely attach the Wiremold to the mounting surface. When routing NM cable through Wiremold, avoid creating sharp bends in the cable that could stress the insulation or conductors. Follow the NEC guidelines for minimum bending radii for NM cable to prevent damage and ensure long-term reliability. If necessary, use sweep elbows or other fittings to achieve gradual bends. Always inspect the NM cable for any signs of damage before installing it in a Wiremold. Check for cuts, abrasions, or other damage to the insulation. Do not use damaged cable, as it could create a safety hazard. If you find any damage, replace the cable with a new one. When multiple NM cables are run through the same Wiremold raceway, ensure that the raceway is sized appropriately to accommodate all the cables without overcrowding. Overcrowding can lead to overheating and potential damage to the cables. Refer to the NEC for guidelines on fill capacity for Wiremold raceways. When terminating NM cable in electrical boxes or equipment, use appropriate strain relief connectors to prevent tension on the cable connections. Strain relief connectors secure the cable to the box or equipment and protect the conductors from being pulled loose. Ensure that the connectors are properly tightened and listed for use with NM cable. After completing the installation, thoroughly inspect all connections and components to ensure that they are properly installed and secured. Check for any loose wires, damaged insulation, or other potential problems. Correct any issues immediately to prevent future problems. Finally, label the Wiremold raceway system to identify the type of cable and circuit it contains. Use a permanent marker or label maker to create clear and legible labels. This will help prevent confusion and ensure that the system can be easily identified in the future. When making electrical connections, ensure that all wire terminations are clean and secure. Remove any corrosion or oxidation from the wire ends before making connections. Use appropriate wire connectors, such as wire nuts or terminal blocks, to create reliable and long-lasting connections. Tighten all connections to the manufacturer's specified torque to ensure secure connection. Remember to consult the manufacturer's instructions for the specific Wiremold system you are using, as well as any applicable local codes and regulations. These resources can provide valuable information and guidance to ensure safe and code-compliant installation. If you have any doubts or concerns about the installation, consult with a qualified electrician for assistance. A professional electrician can assess the situation, provide expert advice, and ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. When working with electricity, always prioritize safety. Take the necessary precautions to protect yourself from electric shock and other hazards. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. Use insulated tools and equipment, and always de-energize the circuit before working on it. By following these guidelines, you can safely and effectively run NM cable in Wiremold for a variety of electrical applications. Always prioritize safety, follow applicable codes and regulations, and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. The NEC provides specific guidance and the proper methods for supporting and securing electrical cables and raceways. Follow these guidelines to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. Use appropriate hangers, straps, or other supports to secure the wire mold to the mounting surface. Space the supports at intervals recommended by the manufacturer to prevent sagging or damage to the raceway. Avoid using makeshift or improvised supports, as these may not be adequate to support the weight of the raceway and cables. When running wire mold horizontally, support it at intervals that prevent sagging. The NEC specifies maximum support intervals for different types of raceways and cables. When running wire mold vertically, support it at intervals that prevent the weight of the cables from pulling on the raceway. The NEC specifies maximum support intervals for vertical runs of raceways and cables. Ensure that the supports are securely attached to the mounting surface using appropriate fasteners. Use screws, bolts, or anchors that are designed for the type of material being mounted to. Avoid using nails or staples, as these may not provide adequate support. When supporting wire mold, avoid damaging the cables or conductors inside the raceway. Use care when tightening straps or clamps to avoid crushing or cutting the insulation. If necessary, use padding or shims to protect the cables. When running wire mold through walls or floors, use appropriate sleeves or bushings to protect the cables from abrasion. The sleeves or bushing should be made of a non-conductive material, such as plastic or rubber. Seal the openings around the sleeves or bushings with a fire-resistant sealant to prevent the spread of fire. When running wire mold in damp or wet locations, use watertight fittings and connectors to prevent moisture from entering the raceway. The fittings and connectors should be listed for use in wet locations. Consider using a raceway system that is specifically designed for use in wet locations, such as PVC conduit. When running wire mold in areas where it may be subject to physical damage, protect it with a guard or a barrier. The guard or barrier should be made of a durable material, such as steel or concrete. Ensure that the guard or barrier does not obstruct access to the raceway for inspection or maintenance. When supporting wire mold, avoid creating sharp bends in the raceway. Sharp bends can damage the cables inside the raceway and reduce its carrying capacity. Use gradual bends or sweeps to maintain the integrity of the raceway. When running wire mold near heat sources, protect it from excessive heat. Excessive heat can damage the raceway and the cables inside. Use a heat shield or insulation to protect the raceway. When supporting wire mold, avoid running it through areas where it may be exposed to corrosive chemicals. Corrosive chemicals can damage the raceway and the cables inside. Use a raceway system that is specifically designed for use in corrosive environments, such as PVC conduit. When supporting wire mold, avoid running it through areas where it may be exposed to vibration. Vibration can loosen connections and damage the raceway. Use vibration-resistant supports to secure the raceway. When supporting Wiremold, avoid running it through areas where it may be exposed to electromagnetic interference. Electromagnetic interference can disrupt the operation of sensitive electronic equipment. Use a shielded raceway system to protect the cables from electromagnetic interference. When supporting Wiremold, avoid running it through areas where it may be exposed to rodent or insect infestation. Rodents and insects can damage the raceway and the cables inside. Use a raceway system that is resistant to rodent and insect infestation. When supporting Wiremold, avoid running it through areas where it may be exposed to direct sunlight. Direct sunlight can cause the raceway to deteriorate over time. Use a raceway system that is UV resistant or provide shade to protect the raceway from direct sunlight. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions and the NEC guidelines when supporting and securing Wiremold. These resources provide valuable information and guidance to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. If you have any questions or concerns, consult with a qualified electrician for assistance. A professional electrician can assess the situation, provide expert advice, and ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. When working with electricity, always prioritize safety. Take the necessary precautions to protect yourself from electric shock and other hazards. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. Use insulated tools and equipment, and always energize the circuit before working on it. By following these guidelines, you can safely and effectively support and secure Wiremold for a variety of electrical applications. Always prioritize safety, follow applicable codes and regulations, and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns.